Hey guys, thank you very much for coming back to Grow Raised Bed Garden. My name is Marina and today we are going to talk about how to plant fall spinach. So what do we know about spinach? Well, it is really rich in iron and calcium, and vitamins A, B, C, and magnesium and manganese. So to name the few, but the calcium is not very bioavailable, so when you cook your spinach or eat it, make sure you eat it with citruses or other vitamin C rich foods such as tomatoes, kiwis, strawberries, and other. Yum. So how do you plant your spinach? First of all, make sure you pick a sunny spot to a partial shade spot, and assure that your soil is loamy and fluffy. There should be no clumps, as spinach have very tender fibrous roots and it doesn't tolerate clumps. You can also propagate your spinach indoors, but it's not recommended due to, again, very tender roots and they're getting easily damaged when transplanted. So the best thing to do is put it straight in the soil. And why we're planting right now, it is September 19th in Western PA. It is still nice and warm outside, so we're gonna give our spinach today a nice start, and as the weather cools off we will be able to maybe collect it this year also. It might have enough time to properly mature, or it will be a nice planting for the next year's spring. So what do you need to know before you start your fall spinach? Well, it will bolt if temperatures rise 70 or above. So that's why it's in the fall the best time to plant your spinach, because it doesn't have time to bolt actually. But when the temperatures go 40 and below, your spinach will actually come to a standstill. It's not going to produce any green growth, any green leaves, but it will overwinter very nicely down to 15 degrees Fahrenheit with some mulching with the straw or mulching with a wood chips. It should do just fine. The spinach will not germinate properly if the temperatures of the soil are over 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Which means you're gonna plant your seeds and nothing comes up. Spring spinach either doesn't come up at all, or it comes up and there's 2-3 leaves and it goes too bold. That is the reasons the temperatures are going too high, too fast. There's not much of a springtime for it to start growing well and produce those leaves that we were looking initially. So in the fall it's perfect. It will give us a nice cool stretch of weather. The winter in Western PA at zone 6 starts around January 1st. I consider it a winter which will completely stop growth of your spinach, but it will still be hardy to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. You can create a polytunnel which will provide you spinach probably throughout the winter and into the spring. And in the spring, as soon as the temperature of the soil is 40 degrees, you can remove the polytunnel and it will grow perfectly fine. In the spring, actually, you can plant spinach seed in the soil as soon as you can work the ground. Also, spinach likes sweet soil. So what that means is 7 pH or above. In order for you to sweeten up your soil, if your soil is acidic, you can either work in a very aged compost or very aged manure. Also lime, you can add lime or wood ashes. And also never cultivate around your spinach. Spinach root system is very shallow, and what you're gonna do, you're actually gonna break the roots, the top roots, which will damage the plant and slow the production of the leaves. Spinach has few diseases. It is prone to mosaic virus, which you probably can choose resistant varieties, which is also prone to leaf miners. And the leaf miners arrive in early summer or late spring, and basically it's a fly that lays eggs on the leaf, and when the egg hatches they go through like in between the layers, like if it's a 2 layers of the leaf, they go in between and they mine the tunnels. They're ultimately destroying the looks and the whole basically purpose of the leaf, turning it into a compost. The easy solution for it is, if you're truly wanting an organic garden and don't want to spray anything on your vegetables, you can use like a fine mesh, like a netting. It's gonna be definitely more denser than for birds. It's more like a cheesecloth, and it will prevent flies from landing on your spinach and laying eggs. So that's a solution. And also, I've mentioned before, as soon as the temperatures go above 70 degrees Fahrenheit, your spinach will unfortunately bolt. And if you want to save seeds, that's a good thing, right? Just isolate your spinach varieties by quarter mile if that's the case. If you're in a small garden like I am, there is no isolation of varieties. Just pick one that you really like. New Zealand spinach or Malabar spinach variety, which is not a spinach. It is related really distantly to spinach, and it is originated in Asia also, but it actually prefers hot weather. It needs hot weather. It does not grow as a normal spinach. It just resembles the taste of the spinach when it's cooked. The leaves are meatier, and the plant itself has more of a climbing habit. It's a vine. Spinach plantings do good in successions, which means today is September 19th. We're gonna plant today, and then we're gonna plant again in 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks again. So in the spring, you're gonna do your first planting, for example, and then every 2 weeks you're gonna plant up until probably late spring. Probably going to be May, depends on the area, of course, and the zone, but you get the picture. It will assure that you have a constant supply of spinach before it bolts. And of course there is a cutoff time. You don't want to plant your spinach in beginning of June. It's just not, first of all, it's not going to germinate. Again, June is really hot. This is winter Bloomsdale spinach. This is perfect for fall planting because it survives through the winter very well, and it wakes up what I call in the spring very nicely. So we're gonna do this one. It's a crinkled leaf variety. So I think we covered pretty much everything about the spinach before we planted. So let's get down to our box, the planting box, and let's start planting. Alright guys, here I have a 4x4 raised garden bed, and it's already been amended. This is a nice fresh soil. There's a lot of manure from my chicken coop, so it's been sitting for a couple weeks here, and that's what you want to do. Just make sure kind of it's all merging, all the compost and all the stuff, and I'm just gonna rake it slightly just to straighten up kind of the soil. So basically this square foot bed will be only, the rows, my rows will be between 4 and 6 inches in between, which will fit much more because I have access from each side of the bed. Alright, make sure that there's no big stuff here, which I usually push it to the side because it's gonna disintegrate anyways. And it just adds some more value to my bed. More fiber. Fiber. There we go. Break up some clumps. There we go. Just the usual amendment. There's some stray seed. There we go. Alright, and what some people are broadcasting the seed. I don't like it because it's actually very hard to weed when it's just broadcasted in the bed. When it's in rows, you just go with the, between the rows and pluck whatever, and maybe there's something in between the plants, but you get the idea. So I take my little scoop and I'm going to make indentations. I will start, 6 inches from the border, and I'm just gonna make grooves that are about an inch deep. Spinach likes a good contact, good coverage, so let's give it that. Alright, there we go. We have it all grooved up, so let's grab our seeds and continue. Alright, so we already talked about the spacing between the plants, and the plants require 6 inches. What I like to do actually, I got this from a Square Foot Gardening book, and it is a good valid point. Instead of just sprinkle your seeds in the groove and they, you know, kind of then pluck out the seeds, because I have limited amount and I want as much spinach as possible. I am going to plant them at the 6-inch intervals, but I'm not going to plant one seed at a time. I'm going to plant like a bunch, like 2 or 3 seeds, since the seeds are pretty fresh there for this year. So I'm gonna put 2 seeds every 6 inches, and with the sprouting rate at 85%, well, it's gonna be just, you know, it's gonna be just fine sprouting. So let's start, and we're gonna do every 6 inches. And I'm getting like a pinch. The seeds are pretty big, you know, so I can definitely grab a pinch, and it's gonna be 3 seeds. You can take a ruler and go ahead with the ruler if you're not comfortable eyeballing it. I'm, you know, eyeballing it because I'm too excited to plant. I don't have time to go and for the ruler, so there we go, beautiful. And last one, and don't worry if it's too close to the edge. Do you even see where I'm putting? Yeah, it's like too close to the edge. There's only like a couple inches because, well, it's gonna go over the edge of the bed a little bit. It doesn't sprawl. Spinach doesn't sprawl much, so it's gonna be perfect. So the first seed I'm putting a couple inches away from the side. Here. What else? Right here. Okay, and that's it. The rest are going back. There we go. And let's cover it up. Just make sure we have a nice contact with soil. Don't worry, seeds are not gonna get hurt. Just make sure. Tamp it dry, tamp it down. Did I say dry? Break up the little clumps of dirt. Make sure it's nice and fluffy. There we go. This one. Okay. So make sure you're giving it a nice drink of water. Make sure you soak it, because spinach likes to be soaked with water. There we go. And also you can mulch it with either grass clippings or straw or hay. With mulch also, just mulch it nicely, but not so it suffocates the new arrivals. Make sure you can still see the ground. What mulching does is actually keeps the soil moist, still, you know, wet for longer, so it doesn't over dry the topsoil, and it also controls the temperatures of the soil, keeps it cooler. Or in the winter time, it keeps it warmer. Well, that was a lot of work. I broke this with, especially on the sun. I'm tending to overheat. So we got our bed of spinach, and I will keep you posted and updated on the progress. And that's it for fall spinach. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please click subscribe or click that bell icon to be notified of the videos when I release them. And have a great planting. Dig in.